Hi, everybody. My favorite things to receive are messages from you guys about something that doesn't make sense to you, something that stands out. Because anybody can study statement analysis, get approach everything very procedural, and wind up with a dozen pages that you don't know what to do with. That happens quite a lot, that the statement analyst will go through a paragraph and detail by detail by detail by detail, but not really know what to look for and what to focus on. Prioritizing is key. I would spend probably 2 months on all the statements of Chris Proudfoot's if I had to do them, probably longer, and then hand it to law enforcement. What are they going to do? You think they're going to read all of that? No. What you cannot train somebody to do is to recognize the things that are important. I notice it from you guys also. Some of you are, bam, you zoom in immediately on whatever doesn't make sense. And sometimes, as was the key on with Chris Proudfoot's statement, right? We have a room upstairs that's never, and then he changes in mid-sentence. When somebody changes mid-sentence, always pay attention. Always read it again. It doesn't matter if you write it down yourself, doesn't matter if you type it into your notepad, it doesn't matter if you only look at it on the screen in the caption area, but have it in front of you. Read it back to yourself. The moment it stops making sense, look at the last word it made where it makes sense and then read that. Forget the rest of the sentence. Think about how could how else could the sentence have ended? How would it make more sense? You compare other statements and then you will see. Now, here, of course, I was sent the one that really stuck out to quite a few of you, something that has troubled her ever since. If she could leave, Belinda said, her chin. Okay. Oh, wait. There's something else I forgot, right? Oh, man. Okay, I'll get to this one. So, first things first, this part, of course, stood out to me more than any other. This one right here. Okay, you guys can see it, right? Great. In that interview, he was especially preoccupied that Malaya had left him and gone to stay with her mother. That we know. Oh, by the way, I always appreciate these unexpected compliments that come out of nowhere, and I'm happy with that. I think that, I focus, I told you guys before, when I do what I do, I shut off everything else. I can only immerse myself in statements. That's why I always tell you guys the most important thing if you want to be an analyst is getting there. You have to really mentally disconnect. And sometimes I have to be in the pool, swimming pool, for an hour to clear my mind. Or, you see, I don't smoke weed. Some people say that's what works for them. I don't think, you know, for me, I need my mind to be naturally clear and free of anything. So sometimes I can not, I don't want to listen to anything that is going to sidetrack me. Anyways, in that interview, he was okay. And so, yeah, one of you said, I like the fact that Mike doesn't have a long intro or a long intro song and this and that. And that was in the very beginning when I started this. I thought, man, I don't want to bother with, should I do this? Should I? And then I looked at Peter Hyatt's videos even though they got a lot less views than people who know absolutely nothing, right? But their presentation is good. So I figured I loved watching his videos. I loved it. He went straight to the point. Didn't even say, "Hi, I'm Peter Hyatt," or "Hi." Later on, he wound up saying, "Greetings, everybody." But in the beginning, he didn't even say that. He just went straight into. In the case of John Benet Ramsey, her brother has recently given an interview, and he went straight to it and didn't even say goodbye. And I said, "That's my style, dude." But it takes somebody else to actually let me know it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because we were all brought up to somehow have these formalities, which I actually don't like. To me, it's a waste of time. I appreciate it when people get straight to the point. Don't need to say hi to me. I mean, it's nice when people say hi to you when they mean it, right? There's a big difference, by the way. Remember what I talked about recently with Stephen Pagano. And what I have recently talked to you guys about is anonymous author analysis, right? Or AAI, anonymous author identification. First comes the analysis, then the identification. And usually what happens is when you, okay, in this case, there was a fatality, and I have not finished reading all of it. But I know that I wanted to give you guys an example here. This is Who Sent a Bomb to Wayne Grevat. So this is actually a very short one for his standard. This is his blog. I read it one. He makes very few posts only, by the way. And the reason this just came to my mind is because of the introduction. Mr. Wayne Grevat, dear sir. I hate it when I get anything that starts like that. Dear sir, that's impersonal, very general. I prefer hi Mike because that already establishes some sort of connection. That already lets me know that very likely you are familiar with me in a positive manner. Dear sir is usually from whatever, the billionaire prince of Dubai or something like that, right? As we all know, fake politeness, being overly polite, while being highly impersonal, is often used to mask bad intentions. In this particular case, the person sent a flashlight that was actually a bomb, and it would ignite by, or it would blow up when the light switch, when it's turned on. So the purpose of this particular letter attached to the so-called gift of a so-called flashlight that's actually a bomb, it was attached to that. The purpose of masking bad intentions, what are the intentions? As I've said before, intention detection is the most important part of statement analysis. And in my plate system, PLAIDS, I'm going to rewrite, by the way, the rules of anonymous author identification, which include the most important parts of it while becoming more efficient. Efficiency to me is a passion. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste money. I don't like to waste my energy. I love to be free of everything that clutters my mind. And I have to be like that. So this already The intention needs to be questioned when somebody is overly polite while being impersonal. The intention is to mask or to convince this person to accept this gift happily. And I'm not going to go into this because some of you will be interested, but most of you may not be. That's how I'm thinking right now. I personally, I have told you guys before, anonymous author identification is very tedious. It's of course necessary to do it many, many times, especially when you have a threatening letter or something like that. Or you have a bunch of fake accounts on Facebook. Or when I received, when back in the beginning, when some people suspected that maybe the messages from Daniel Martell were fake, and I applied the rules of anonymous author identification, and I became satisfied, yes, these messages are likely from Daniel Martell. So I didn't need to go demand proof. I already had enough proof to be confident. I also did the same with Wade, the stepfather of Malaya's, because when I first gotten this video, I didn't know who the guy is. Well, the guy in the video, Tint, said, "This is Wade, the stepfather." Okay, let's hear a little bit. Okay, I was satisfied. Yes, that's him. Yes, very likely true. So the reason I'm getting, and by the way, Daniel Martell is, of course, the reason, he wants Malaya back. And that's what we're getting to in a minute. But, I wanted to show you guys a little bit what I was talking about. This is what anonymous author identification is. I will apply plates, and then I'm going to actually find my own example where I'm going to demonstrate to you how to approach it. And again, things are happening very fast, so I do get sidetracked quite a bit in the last few days. I have been. But this Pick2 account on Facebook and this Jack Lilly account, right? We're going to get into this more and more and more. And let's go with intention detection. Let's stick with, yes, that's my lighter. Oh God, yeah, I'm reading your comments, guys, and I love it because I get more out of that than, you know, you guys alert me of things to pay attention to right now. I love it, absolutely. Um, what is the intention behind Daniel um, talking with Charmaine in the very beginning, before he started talking? Remember, he sent Durwood out. Durwood was Daniel by proxy. There is no doubt. At a time when Daniel didn't want to speak to YouTubers, he wanted to only speak to controlled media and be able to speak on his own terms. I think he changed his mind when Kayla interviewed him. I think looking back, Daniel figured, you know what, this lady was a little too inquisitive and getting a little bit too close. I actually have no doubt that's what took place. So when Charmaine spoke with him online and he first declined to speak, but she had a way of making it sound like she's on his side, and eventually he opened up. Damage control is always in the back of his mind, but the huge intention behind his messages was to get Malaya back, because suddenly he's all alone in this damn trailer. And let's face it, 80% of my viewers are female, according to YouTube. Would you want to live in this trailer? I mean, what woman wants to live in this trailer with him? I mean, I understand if you're completely in love with somebody or you have nowhere else to go or whatever. There are certain, some of you would never step foot into this thing. not spend the night. Of course, Malaya's grandmother was ready to spend the night there because she didn't want to leave until Jack and Lily are found. So it's a mind over matter thing. But he has now probably, the desire, he wanted to reach Malaya with these messages when he talked about the being, at the waterfalls and the Daniel she first met and all of this crap. I'm pretty sure Malaya is over that. And these memories are, you know, just too distant time wise, and too distant in terms of reestablishing this kind of connection she once thought she had with Daniel. Because he was also hiding drug use at the time, right? Probably. So she pretty much realized everything was more or less of a lie. And Daniel, of course, now figures, man, what woman wants to live here with me? Who's next? Who wants to. He's a chaotic dude, man. When I speak about efficiency, the lack of efficiency in his life simply stands out to me when he doesn't even file his taxes. That's all you have to do, dude, to keep getting free money from the government. And you screwed that up. And Jack and Lily they were forced to grow up with the chaotic lack of anything that children need to flourish. Now we're gonna do homework together. Okay, now I'm gonna help you with homework while mommy is making supper. Okay, now you have supper. Now make sure you're clean. Oh, baby, you have chapped lips. Let's apply this whatever lip gloss or whatever it is. Um, there was none of that. These kids were out there by themselves. They were, they grew up wild, very wild out there. And then they had this old hag yelling at them, who complains that Jack would cross his arms and say, eh. I mean, that is the reaction you get when, on top of having this chaotic home life, you even get bothered outside because that damn dog that's more important than them would, start barking because of Lily's voice. So he has a very chaotic mindset. So those of you who ask, why does he keep talking? I don't understand. Well, that's how he is. Why didn't he file taxes? You don't have to understand it in order to accept it. What would you do in this situation if you had some to hide? Well, I'm sure some of you think about that. Like, I wouldn't say shit about anything. I wouldn't say anything. Anyways, I'm going to jump around a little bit. One of you said it's good that I don't have a long introduction song, but I actually recorded a song about 20 years ago with a friend of mine that I wrote myself, and I may actually wind up making this an introduction. Here. Okay, and then I start singing, which didn't turn out as well as I thought it would. So, yeah, I may have that, but that was like 16 seconds, right? So we're not going to have a 4-minute intro song or any of this, but I figured, I might as well use it. I recorded it already. So, yeah, yes, I play all the instruments. So, anyways, in that interview, he was especially preoccupied that Malaya had left him. Absolutely. He's all alone now at home. All alone. And he hates it and gone to stay with her mother. She's going to try to blame everything on me, but she doesn't get in trouble. This is a huge red flag here. Blame everything on me. Blame, but trouble. Whatever she can blame him for can get him into huge trouble. And this indicates illegal activity. So without going into the details of this particular case, I keep this very general. And yes, many of you have recognized that this is a huge red flag, guys. What would there be to blame? And this lady also, the interviewer, and I guess, oh, it was two people, right? Greg and her, a guy named Greg here. But so, anyways, what should there be to blame? What would there be to blame? That's the question. And he replied, I don't know. And when you say that twice, I don't know, this can also be an indicator that the person thinks that a simple denial isn't sufficient. A simple denial is the best one. Did you unalive your wife? No. No, I didn't. No, I didn't unalive my wife. Right? No, and why would I do this? Because me and her had a wonderful relationship. This is just crazy. That's not a reliable denial. That's actually full of red flags indicating there's a good chance that you had something to do with it. So you want a simple denial, and him saying this twice indicates that he feels there is a need to convince. Same when he was asked, did you have anything to do with it? He left an unreliable denial. What he said struck me, absolutely. Never ignore your own intuition. Never. And believe me, there are many analysts who don't have intuition. They go by, they do it very methodical. They don't know how to prioritize. And prioritizing is what we do with plates. And all of you are going to be a step above analysts in general once we combine anonymous author identification with plates. And I'll get more to this in my membership section. As for, okay, well, I like this short article because this lady actually expresses how moved she was, by this case and how much interest she really has. And I believe that after interviewing Daniel, the curiosity grew. When I saw Daniel first with this fake crying thing, I knew. I didn't make it official and I didn't express it at the time, but I knew there's something extremely wrong. Then I heard the statements from Malaya in her interview. Then the weirdness about pink boots for Lily. They took their boots, right? Pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack. The backpack that's white and probably brown by now. That stood out. So here is this part that also stood out to some of you. Daniel was also upset at Malaya. I've been the only... Something that has troubled her ever since. If she could leave, Belinda said, her chin... Yeah. Daniel was also upset that Malaya left. I've been the only one there for them. So he always has this desire to tell us how much he did for these kids. He couldn't be the one who hurt them, right? She can't control them. Only I can. Only I can. So his mother couldn't either. His mom just yelled at them and nagged. But I think that Jack especially gotten sort of immune to it. Oh God, there's a witch. And he just crossed his arms and say, which is his way of saying, get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear your crap anymore. Little 4-year-old who picks up on these bad energies, probably, very, very easily. They act out whenever she's there. She always gets me to calm them down. Or get them to stop fighting or feed them. Or get them up. But I thought Malaya is the woman that makes food for them, right? And put them to bed every night. And this is a huge thing. Daniel puts them to bed every night. That's what he said. But when it comes to Thursday night, he couldn't tell us what they were wearing. He didn't want to tell us anything. That's why I kept at it. And Kent Corbett has already asked him some questions about that, but I personally would ask a little bit more. Not too many questions, maybe two more. My favorite is always two questions, actually. That particular night, he didn't put them to bed. He just told us every night he puts them to bed to make himself look great. Did he? Well, what happened on Thursday night? We are looking at patterns that break. She was asking me to do everything. It just breaks my heart not to ever see everybody. What's more expected? What would flow more? It just breaks my heart not to ever never to see anybody again, not to ever see everybody. So he is actually trying not to give himself away too much. But it is so on his mind that suddenly he doesn't have Malaya anymore. And yes, there have been, claims that he has a new girlfriend, but who cares? I mean, I'd be surprised if he finds somebody, unless he changes his life, who is willing to move in with him. And this is what and I'm sure he misses his daughter too. Jack and Lily, not at all. I believe Wade when he said he didn't like them kids. And that's why he felt the need to change Jack to Jackie. And unfortunately, that was a little bit late because there we also saw the pattern changes. He didn't call him Jackie in the beginning. He changed it to Jackie later on. And that tells me calling him Jackie was not a part of his pattern. That was part of the image he wanted to present to all of us. He's telling us he will never see everybody again. That tells me he will never see Jack or Lily again. Because Malaya is around, not with him. Meadow, he will be able to see Meadow. But Jack and Lily he will never see again. So there are two people that are missing, which take away from the everybody part. But that's not what breaks his heart. Malaya is not going to be with him. And he is the chaotic dude who is always sorry. I believe Malaya's statements. He was controlling, he held her down. He always said, I'm sorry. He is used to apologizing. He is used to talking, not used to positive actions, but talk his way out of things. When he said that Daniel she first knew, he has confidence in his own words. And he thought he could persuade her to come back. Maybe. That's why he fell into the trap of answering Charmaine. His mind told him, don't do it, dude. It's gonna go ugly. And once he gotten into it, then his messages were being torn apart by me. And then he felt the need to reply more and more. The day before the children were reported missing, the Mounties say the children were observed in public with family members. It was the last time they were seen by anyone outside the home. There we go. So here are a couple of messages, actually writings from Logan Mackenzie. Well, that's what I'm wondering, like, what the fuck does this even matter? Okay, wait. Here's Logan again. I'll get more into this, guys. And then there is this Picto person. Considering Belinda and Darren did a live stream and you are still claiming it's a hoax, says you are a total idiot narcissist. And then there is this account again, Lily Jack. Where did I use the word hoax? Do you have a comprehension? Okay, this is Ronnie Black, sorry. The patterns are what we need to recognize. And again, from what I was told, weight, she used to weigh a lot more, right? Remember what I posted? Trying to convince us that the rocks were all Malaya's or it was all about her. How could she be so fat then? This person about Malaya. So, of course, you know, no surprise, a female is going to get in there and say she was not fat, stop shaming her body. And this person, she way bigger than me. So in the beginning, I was asked, do you think this is Daniel? No. This is a female author. She way bigger than me. How would you describe her physique? So people would get the visual of what they need to understand. So Malaya, without her weight was not something that I noticed. If somebody is really big, of course I notice it, but it's not really this type of uh, pointing out Malaya's weight is by somebody to whom weight is very important, who may actually be obsessed with weight. And that is, from what I understand, something, a very important part of her life, to Logan, her weight. So for me, there is not that big of a difference between her and Malaya, but to her there is. So we believe people when they give us statements. We believe them. We believe their exact words. In her mind, there is a big difference between her weight and Malaya's. And of course, this is a female author. A man doesn't compare his size to a woman. I have also mentioned that this could be one of their properties for sale. So this, of course, look at his eyes. This is Earl Martell, Daniel's father. And remember, be a man, put the camera down, be a man, right? So the way that Daniel grew up was probably no picnic. I respect people who break the cycle of abuse. I don't respect people like Chris Proudfoot who say, well, I've been hit, so I'm going to keep doing that. I respect people who say, I've been abused, and the last thing I will do to any child is make them feel like I was made to, how I was made to feel.
You're a fucking idiot. Another one of them YouTubers, are you?
Is there anything wrong that I park my car in here?
You're not parking. You're fucking being an idiot.
For what?
So, you can YouTube all you want. You low-life little fuckers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You're a bit small because you got a camera there.
Calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The camera is a big issue for him. What would he do if there wasn't a camera in his face? Mind you, there was a lot of police presence in the area. And I don't really know. Well, I saw Tint, I guess, an old video where he's playing keyboard, that song by Aha. I don't know exactly what size he is. If I think I think Tint can take him. That doesn't mean he wouldn't attack him physically if there was no camera. You know what I mean? And you can never judge a book by its cover, actually. So, but yeah, this is him and Janie were a match made in heaven, right? Right. Maybe that's why Janie is so sick of men in general and prefers to have her dog there. But she's holding her dog really hostage. You know what I mean? The poor doggy stuck there in that house. She's probably talking to the dog. She's probably talking to herself. She's probably yelling out stuff. She's probably irritable. And the poor dog has to, yeah. He would have had more fun running around with Jack and Lily in the yard. I always appreciate the input some of you are giving me. In recovery here, oftentimes an addicted person will manipulate the non-addicted partner to use with them with the intent to have them start using their money to buy rugs. Absolutely. I agree with that. Because the addicted partner has usually already burned up every bridge and destroyed their own ability to hold a job or pay for their addiction. Yes. So they target people with money or kids. Hope this makes sense. It makes a ton of sense. I love your format. Matt, no loud soundboards making no 20-minute music intros. Yeah, okay. No, don't worry. If I do it, it's going to be 16 seconds. Exactly 16 seconds. That's great. Thank you, guys. Logan has pictures of her weighing much more than she does now. Yes, weight is an issue. Absolutely. We need to look for the patterns. And this particular comment is, okay, Jack looks so sad. I agree. His lips are dry as Jack was angry. He had reason to be angry. Wow. Thank you, Marianne, for this wonderful comment. Well, Janie's been lying a lot. I need to say that. And when Janie said, I'm not here to lie, in that particular case, she's admitting to lying. And intention detection, well, her intention is to protect her son Daniel. That's the reason for her lying. Her lying doesn't mean that she actively hurt Jack and Lily, but indirectly she did. I believe that. Okay, I appreciate this clarification. Thank you for covering this case. I really enjoy. Globe and Mail. Anyone in Canada has to subscribe if we want to access the article. Anyone outside of Canada can read for free. The figures the market share outside of Canada isn't worth chasing. That makes sense. That's why it's easy for me to access it. So I guess in Canada, you cannot access it for free. But as I have previously stated, I will cover these cases. You will be able to read it with me on video. So of course, I'm going to read always the important parts, but you can always, stop the video and look. I make sure that I have everything on my screen. So you can always stop the video at any point and then read on your own. And yes, Marianne, the anger that emanates from Daniel's mother and father is frightening, such angry people. Yeah, and I agree that he toned things down because of the camera. When he says, be a man, put the camera down, he would have been very different. He's trying, that was Daniel, but just look at Daniel's father's eyes. Look at his eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul, and the eyes are actually a part of your brain, not just the window into your brain, but they are a part of your brain. And I say it always, if you want to look for body language, don't listen to the behavioral channel. They actually claim that Malaya was not deceptive. So I have no idea why people are watching this junk, because they've been wrong about most things. And so everybody can do what they want. I can only encourage you guys to avoid these types of things, and I respectfully ask it. If you don't sidetrack any of my viewers with comments about them, if you understand what I mean, right? If somebody sends me something from them because they are featuring a certain interview, please make sure that you give me the timestamp. I don't want to waste 1 second listening to anything that they have to say. I want to go straight to the timestamp and only focus on whatever it is that they're featuring. Back to the eyes. When people smile at you, look in the eyes. If the eyes smile alongside the face, it's more likely to be genuine. If there is a stark contrast and the eyes look angry, cold, dark, there's a contrast between the eyes and the huge smile on the face. Even Daniel's father, he actually had this grin when he looked at Tint, right? Loose lips sink ships, Mike. Dumbo M is not so smart. This slogan is also a dummy trying to act brilliant. She is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. She's a small step above the others, and she thinks that she is able to do damage control, which she isn't. And here's an interesting observation. Tulip Tracy. Interesting. Logan said in her last interview the RCMPs, which is not typically pluralized in this way, in the way she was using it. Here, this person said waterfalls guy, which is also not typically pluralized and not a way I hear a lot of people speak. Absolutely. Great catch, Tracy. Very good. She also said one of the worst nights. I missed that one. I had 4 children, never black eyes. Yeah, black eyes is not the. I mean, dude, this guy is unbelievable. He actually admitted that Jack had black eyes all the time. And yes, when it comes to family courts, what Judge Judy said one time was in an interview that in family courts they don't have cameras, so they put a lot of political hacks in there. The types of judges that they have, according to her, they put the worst of the worst in there, the least capable, because there they won't be exposed to any scrutiny. And she also said that people who are judges, it's good if they have children. It's even better if they have been through a divorce, so they kind of understand it. If they have children that are already teenagers, so they can think back at their childhoods and then the teenage years, how things change. The family court system, I think, is never that, that there are problems, man. There are definitely problems. And that's why I said Belinda needs to sue CPS or whatever department she can sue. She needs to make sure that they are all held accountable, because when it comes to financial pressure, that's when they're going to have to reveal something. They're going to have to open some of their files to defend themselves, I believe. Danzo makes it sound like black eyes are an everyday part of children playing. Yeah, I can see a black eye, but not much. And again, I said it before, the thumb pad. He slapped, I believe, Jack open-handed. And if you look at the discoloration, the lower right-hand side from what we're looking at, and the upper left-hand side of his eye, around his eyes, I believe that, the thumb pad, his thumb pad was what hit that area, and an adult hand, a man's hand, aligns perfectly with what we saw in Jack's face. So yes, Lily and Jack account has the Logan attitude. Women talk about size and weight, and a man wouldn't compare his size to a woman. So you're right on that. Absolutely. Malaya's responsible. Malaya should get the most prison time. No, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Failure to protect. Well, I would accept less time if she turns in the unalivers. Yeah, I agree with that too. Absolutely. I'm a safe place, Logan. And she wanted to be Meadow's mom. I'm a safe place. Wow. Great comments, guys. The person is familiar with the family dynamic. She refers to MBM Gran as grandma. Oh, I was going to show you something else. I forgot about that. One moment. So this Jack Lily account was asked, what country are you from? And it was first avoided, I believe. There was no reply. Then I believe the question came back up in a different part of the commenting section. And she first said, what does it matter what country I'm from? And here she replies, I'm born, raised, and living in USA. Now, I have never heard an American say in USA. Where you? I live in USA. People usually say I'm born, raised, and living in the States. Or when they say in, it's usually often followed by a state. In California. In the US. In the. But I believe this is actually a common way to name USA as a country, like in Italy, in Czech, in Austria, whatever, right? Is this common to say? I know most of you are in the States. Read this again. I'm born, raised, and living in USA. Anyways, leave me your comments. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you very soon.